Hey man, it's your boy Mr. V. Welcome to my YouTube channel, man. You're all welcome. As always, please man, subscribe, like, share, hit that notification button so that you may be notified every time we upload those videos. Anyway, let's get into this thing, man. Welcome to the show again, or welcome back. I don't even know how to go with the introduction thing. But anyway, that's not what you're here for. What we're here for is something that I watched. So this is about what Macg said about Penuel, the black pen, God pen, or something to the effect. I'm not too sure how he, at this point in time, referred to himself, but I know it's Penuel, right? The black pen, God pen. Yeah. So I don't know whether I should say they have been at loggerheads. They've been at each other's throats. I don't think they are beefing as per se. However, there may be opinions that were expressed, and those opinions may have not been well received from some sides. So I just thought, let me just give my 2 cents, man, of what I think about the whole thing, my view, because I had a privilege. So I'm a paying member, man, of Macg's podcast. I am a member, right? I'm not just a guy who watches but I'm a member. Now, I watched the thing, the episode, I think it was episode 400, which aired yesterday. Wow, I'm shooting this thing on what is today? It's a Tuesday. Yeah, on a Tuesday. So it aired yesterday on Monday. And he made a point about Penuel having sold out, and you could see it from the equipment that Penuel has in his show. That in his show, the camera work is phenomenal, the sound is fantastic. But where he shares the platform with DJ Sbu, Virtual Mkuku, and what is it? I forgot the other channel, the DJ Sbu's channel. It was the old one. But anyway, yeah, from that flat platform, you could hear the sound. Is not up to par, as compared to when it's in his own platform. So he was saying you can see that the equipment there is top class and whatnot, and it would seem like he sold out from that angle, and maybe a whole lot of other things that he know that we don't, right? If there is anything really. And then Penuel also, I think he did watch that, and he gave his view, his opinion of what he thought about Macg and what Macg did, specifically with regards to him saying what he said about him, and also about in general in the podcasting space in general, right? He had a lot to say about that. Things like he hasn't helped anyone. If there's one person who has been helping others was Nota, who goes to all these platforms. He hasn't gone to any platform that he deemed as younger than him. And I've got a view on that. I will focus. I just want to paraphrase what the two giants were saying, really, and then I can go into my view and my opinion, right? So he was just saying that Nota has been to all the small, or most of the small podcasts, and he tries to support them because he really believes in the podcasting space. Whereas Macg, who would or supposed to be the biggest podcaster in the country, should have maybe shown face to all other platforms, just to show that he supports the work that the other guys are doing, right? But he hasn't. Now, Let me start with where do I start? Let me start with what Macg said, right? I think what Macg said has a potential of being destructive to the podcasting space. And I understand where he was saying it coming from, because he had watched something about what is his name? KRS-One. Yeah, I think that's the guy's name. He had watched something that was talking about how the advent of hip hop, what brought hip hop into being, and what sustained it, right? That white people bought it over and so forth and so forth. Then you were saying that it sold out. I want to assume that it's perhaps the fact that he is close to Rob Herzog. I don't know, right? The fact that he's been in his show, and I think, this is me just thinking, I think him going into the Macg podcast was facilitated by Penuel, right? Hence I said he might know something that we don't, something that we're not privy to. But in as far as saying because of his equipment he sold out, nah, I don't buy it. I don't think that's the case, because if you think about it, right, the virtual Nkuku is shot outside. It's in a sort of a restaurant or setup where there are cars passing by in the background. With the Penuel show, it's done in the house, in a room, right? And I think they're using like 3 cameras or 2 cameras, one that shows this person and that person, and there are close-ups there from time to time, and so forth, which is done nicely. And shout out to the guys who are doing the production, right? I don't think that portion, that example, qualifies to say that we can say he's a sellout. Even the idea of Rob Herzog coming into the show, obviously he started in his show and then he ended up at Macg's show. I don't think that also qualifies to say that he sold out, because the selling out part, I think it has to do with ideology. What is it that he was doing that is not doing anymore? If he has changed in some way, shape or form, he has turned 180 degrees. And I know that they then spoke about him having joined the joined AfriForum, which, now that part, my friend, that part is a bit difficult to swallow, right? If you are like Penuel, right? I mean, the guy is only popping, in my view at least. I only started knowing him now a couple of months back when he was with DJ Spoo, and for me that's when he was popping. He started popping. There may be people who know him from before, I don't know, right? But if you are at a point where you feel that you need to join a movement of some sort that speaks to the poor masses, or that addresses certain issues that have to do with blacks, I don't know if really I'm convinced that going with AfriForum is the way to go, right? However, I understand the work that they have done. Shout out to them for the work that they've done. I know they've been added with the Senzo Mayiwa case, and a whole host of other cases that are black issues. But my problem is there's been a whole lot of things that have happened where you are supposed to stand up against your own race if you really want us to take you seriously. But then again, they stand for Africans people, so maybe they don't see anything wrong, you know. Now, for Penuel to go and join that movement in the name that they get ish done, I don't know if I agree with that idea. I don't know if it would convict me to join them and be a paying member, right? However, it would request of me to ask certain questions about my race, to say, okay, why is it that no one is doing something like those guys are doing? Is there something that I can do? Is there any way that I can establish or even join any movement that seems to be stalking to that? Now, he did answer that question, right? Because he said that a couple of years back, he was a member of a certain brand. I think it's called Buy Black or something to that effect, which he even became a face on the website. He becomes the face of the movement. But he decided to move away from that because of certain things that he deemed were not cool for him, like how they used to do things or how they conducted themselves. He felt that it was not in alignment with what he thought the movement would be about. Now, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, in my view. You try and sort it out from inside. Because here you are now moving, you're saying you're going to join the AfriForum that has got its own issues, and you're saying that you will try and sway whatever from the inside. You will be an inside man when you could have been an inside man in the movement that is of your own race. But also, I give him credit because it says that he has moved from racialism. He's non-racial or something to that effect, right? It doesn't look at race. As it's at night. My English, she's going. So yeah, I don't know if I'm really convinced. I don't know if I'm really convinced that that is genuine, right? Or that would not qualify for someone to say, hey, Chief, you seem to have been selling out or to have sold out. From that angle, hey, my man, it's difficult for you to convince me otherwise. Don't want to lie, it's difficult for me to be convinced. I can't be convinced about the Roberts of thing. I can't be convinced about the sound. That's very lame for me. I think Macg has successfully steered something inside because I know he responded there and then after watching. He then made a video and responded. I think he wanted to dispel the myth very fast and quick before it could be late, right? But when you look at it, the AfriForum part of it, my man, that one is, it's gonna be very difficult for people to accept. Yeah, no, hey, we're not gonna accept that very easy. But I want to say something to what Macg said, right? If we're trying to build, especially if you're not afraid of me, and from what Macg says all the time, he's all about honesty. I think he should have called me. He's got his numbers. He could have called him on the show to say what he feels he sold out about, which portion he deems as the selling out part. But to just say that and you leave it in the air, it's irresponsible, especially when we are trying to build the podcasting space, of course, right? Which then people are going to come and take it over, and it's going to go south very fast. So it would be easier if you, because you've got the platform, Macg does call a lot of people a lot of times on the show, but I feel like sometimes he does it for the ratings. There are times where he does it for really genuine knowledge about whatever, right? And I think this should have been, could have been, would have been the perfect time to do it, right? To say, let me call this guy and tell him, look, I think you're a sellout because of this, and then he defends himself right there and then. So again, he didn't want to give him the platform, or he did not deem it fit to give him the platform, and it's entirely up to him. It's his platform after all, right? I also want to say, with great power comes great responsibility. That's to say, Macg is very opinionated, and he says it like it is. That's why I love the show. I enjoy it. I never miss Monday and Thursday episodes. I make sure that I watch, right? However, I think because he is no longer that young man who has got 20 or 30 subscribers and sitting around the bar wherever and talking to your friends. Sometimes certain things need to be done responsibly. When you attack them, maybe think about them a bit. I know the show is formulated in such a way that they operate from top of the dome, and I love that about the show, because it shows what you've been thinking about and so forth. But once you have said something and you see that maybe it's not the way that you would have wanted, or you see any mistake of any sort, or you see a platform to be responsible about something, maybe you need to take that and talk to that, right? He should have immediately, when he saw maybe, and again, it's entirely up to an individual, right? If it were me, I would have immediately gone maybe onto Twitter, for example, to try and show where I'm coming from, or what am I saying, and so forth and so forth. Somebody might then go and hate him, right, on the basis of what they saw on Podcast and Chill, and it might not be as nice, right? It might not be as nice, but I really like the gems, some of the gems that Peyo said in response, especially where you talk about him not bringing up other podcasters, and I think he hasn't done much yet, maybe, because I only remember the YouTubers that he has brought onto the show. It was the 3 channels. Yeah, I think it was this other lady, what's her name now? Owami, the other gentleman, where he does some skits with his girlfriend. I forgot the third one, but he brought those people into, I think it was part of YouTube Black, whatever. From that angle, from you wanting to nurture this beast that will have to face radio one of these days, or that is trying to face radio, right, to move people from radio to it, you are supposed to be visible, in my view. You can't do things the same way that it has been done and expect that it is going to give birth to different results. If you're comfortable with where you are, how you are, and the fact that you are chowing, you are good, it's fine. Let it be that. But if you then say that you care about the space, you would want to see it grow, you would want to see it do better, and so forth. It's not just a matter of coming into your show and talk about certain things. Let's see you walk that walk. Let's see you go into other people's platforms, other podcasters, other guys, instead of you wanting to beef. Because I get, there are times where I would watch the show and I'm like, yeah, my boy, he's trying to to find out if the guys are beefing with him or something, and to think that you are always a target, you are always something that people are targeting. It's also not good, right? Because you end up not knowing who's who in the zoo, or even trusting your capabilities, or even trusting that people are genuine towards you. You just think that everybody is out there to kill you, right? I heard something that I don't think I should have heard, but I felt like when I was watching the response from Penuel, I felt the vibe, something that seemed to suggest that there was some form of beef between, or some form of infight between Macg and Saul Penduka. And I'm like, okay, he threw that in so that a person like me who will hear those things can start to think about them and not watch Saul Penduka in the same light when it comes to the show. And that's unnecessary, right? But he was cornered, he was pushed to say such things, because then it may raise certain questions that, oh, did he take the radio gig because he knew that this thing was not going to be sustainable, or what, or like, what is going on there? So it just leaves someone with a lot to think about, with a lot to digest on, and yeah, I suppose we will see what happens. We'll see how this one goes. I think there were a lot of things that Macg could have done better, my view. I think Penuel shouldn't have joined AfriForum, especially if AfriForum has got a lot of work to do to justify itself in front of black people's eyes. And that's why you would assume that he sold out. I don't know him from before. I don't know what he was doing, if he was doing all black work or anything of that sort. But on the basis of that, and saying that you're going to try and infiltrate the movement and try and change it here and there to work for the masses, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think it's possible. Yeah, those guys have got their own way of doing things, and they're happy to take your money and do those things with it. And if you're happy paying for them to do those things, hey man, each to its own, right? Each to its own. But look, that's my view. I think it was unnecessary what Macg did on that show, in that portion. Yes, he had a point to make, but I don't think he was necessary. But hey, my boy, Penuel, I think, the AfriForum thing is a bit difficult for a lot of people to swallow. But hey, he's his own man. He decides what he wants. He does what he wants. Who are we to want to dictate what he does with his life? With that said, gotta bounce. Yeah, man. I gotta be out of here.